LawSikho's thorough newspaper analysis for 12th of January 2024. ठीक है, हम 12 जनवरी 2024 की न्यूज के बारे में पढ़ रहे हैं. चलिए, let us start with the editorial section where we'll be talking about the international criminal court genocide case against Israel and what South Africa argued on day one. This particular editorial we are discussing from the Indian Express. Then we'll be discussing about some interesting news update, and lastly we'll be discussing about the legal news update. Chale, pehle let us start with the context behind this particular editorial, where the International Court of Justice have commenced the hearing of the South Africa's genocide case against Israel that happened on January 11. That was the first hearing. So it's a quick summary of what happened in that particular hearing, what were the South Africa contention, and why this particular case has been dealt in International Court of Justice. So South Africa have brought a case against Israel to the International Court of Justice on December 29th, 2023. Okay, so the country brought the case under UN 1948 Genocide Convention. In its application, South Africa has filed the case against Israel in the ongoing Gaza assault, has violated the provisions of Article 2 of the convention, which is 1948 Genocide Convention. This article defines genocide to mean acts committed with intent to destroy, wholly or partly, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. Correct? Now, ICJ will eventually decide whether Israel is committing the genocide or not, which may take years. But first, it will decide whether it has jurisdiction on this particular matter, whether the case file is maintainable before the International Court of Justice or not. South Africa has also sought an interim relief for the Palestinians and asked the ICJ to order Israel to immediately suspend all the military operations in Gaza as an interim measure. The court is likely to rule on this in a matter of within weeks. While the court ruling are legally binding, it has no way to enforce them. So there is no enforceability. Nonetheless, its opinions carry weight with the UN and other international institutions. South Africa has been led has a special repo on human rights in the occupied Palestinian territories and comprises Adila Hassam, Tambika, and Max du Plessis, with Blane de Gralia and Bhagwan Loe providing external counsels. Alongside the country Justice Minister Ronald Lamola and Ambassador to the Netherlands, Vusi Mandosela, the team led out a detailed case against Israel. So what are the South African contentions in this matter? So Israel's response to the October 7 attack has crossed this line. So the first argument of the contention, while acknowledging that South Africa unequivocally condemned the targeting of civilians by Hamas on October 7 last year, Justice Minister Ronald Lamola argued that despite this, no armed attack on the state territory, no matter how serious it is, could serve a justification for the convention breached by Israel. Israel's response to the October 7, 2023 attack has crossed this line and given rise to breaches of the convention. Okay? So that's the first argument that is coming up. The second argument that is coming up is South Africa Ambassador to Netherlands, Vusi Mendozola, stated that his country placed Israel genocidal attacks and omission within the context of Israel 76-year occupation and a consequent 16-year siege of Gaza Strip, labeling it as a silent killer for people. Max du Plessis would later emphasize on this particular point. Now, what's happening in Gaza now entails destructive act perpetrated by an occupying power, Israel that has subjected the Palestinian people to an oppressive and prolonged violation of their rights of self-determination for more than half a century. So this was a second big argument. The third big argument was first genocidal act is mass killing of Palestinians in Gaza. So Adila Hassim laid out the basic charges of genocide against Israel, arguing that Israel action shows systematic patterns of conduct from which genocide can be inferred. Israel's first genocidal act is mass killing of Palestinians in Gaza. Now, The next argument that the South African country is bringing up is bodily and mental harm, the second genocidal act. So Hasim argued that the suffering of the Palestinian people, physical, mental, is undeniable and constitute Israel's second genocidal act under Article 2B of the Genocide Convention. She said that there was a result of Israel attacks. Thousands of Palestinian women and children have been wounded. They have been maimed, all while the healthcare system has all but collapsed. Moreover, Israel forces have inflicted untold mental trauma on Palestinian children, included who have been arrested, blindfolded, forced to undress, and loaded into trucks and taken to unknown locations. Israel political leaders, military commanders, and persons holding political positions have systematically and explicitly termed declared their genocidal intent. He specifically cited statement by the likes of Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant as he argued that Israel's intentional failure to condemn, prevent, and punish genocidal incitement was a grave violation of the 1948 UN Convention. John Durgard addressed the question of jurisdiction. State parties to this convention are obliged not only to desist from genocidal act, but also to prevent them. He said that, South Africa has an obligation to prevent genocide, including by taking all reasonable measure within its power. So South Africa has taken a stand against Israel, having a very strong argument against what they have done against Palestinian and in Gaza, and they're condemning that how whatever serious matter would be, you cannot violate 1948 Genocide Convention of the UN. Now, there's an urgent need for provisional measures to protect Palestinians, and the news that is coming up from the International Court of Justice is that they're pleading that urgent need for provisional measures to protect Palestinians in Gaza from irreparable prejudice caused by Israel violation of the Genocide Convention. She specifically pointed out public health disaster unfolding in Gaza, saying that experts warn that death from starvation and disease risk are significantly outnumbering death from bombing. As a matter of law, South Africa cannot request an order from this court against Hamas. So, Lowy also answered why South Africa has not filed a case against Hamas, likely preempting one of the Israel argument. Hamas is not a state and cannot be a party to the Genocide Convention and cannot be party to this proceeding. So exactly, that's the biggest reason that they have not filed a case against Hamas, but they have filed a case against Israel, being a state who has, ratified this 1948 UN Convention, and they have to follow it. Okay, so this is something of the day one argument that have been held before the International Court of Justice, and we hope that justice shall prevail. I hope the editorial gives a basic understanding of what is happening in the international sphere for Israel and Palestinians and Gaza. Yeah. Thank you so much. We'll move forward with the national news, where Meghalaya, Byrnihat becomes India's most polluted city. So one of the northeastern states, Byrnihat in Ribhoi, Meghalaya, received the dubious title of India's most polluted city. Delhi, known for its choking winter smoke, split to 8 space. The top 3 spots now being to Begusarai in Bihar, Greater Noida in UP, and Brihan itself. The report, based on 2023 air quality data, studied 227 cities and painted a concerning picture of widespread pollution. So, now let us move forward to the next national news, which is very important, where we are, communicating to you for the appointment. So IAS officer Senthil Pandian C as the new ambassador to the World Trade Organization. The Indian government has appointed IAS officer Senthil Pandian C as the new ambassador to the World Trade Organization in Geneva. He succeeds Bajendra Navneet. Senthil Pandian C, a 2002 IAS officer from the Uttar Pradesh cadre, will serve as Indian ambassador to the WTO for the 3-year term from the date of assuming office. Now, when we are discussing about the World Trade Organization, let us discuss some facts which will help you in exams also. World Trade Organization is an intergovernmental organization that regulates and facilitates international trade. Their headquarters are in Geneva, Switzerland, and it is founded on 1st of January 1995. ठीक है, चलो. Let us start with the next national news. Blow a whistle, call to school. Jharkhand government tried to boost student attendance. So Jharkhand, among the worst performing states in terms of retention of students in the past few years, has launched a unique campaign named a blow a whistle call to school to increase the attendance in government school. As per the United District Information data, Jharkhand, with its high tribal population, had the highest dropouts rate for school children in India, with only 30 out of 100 students finishing school. Jharkhand, along with Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, had the worst retention rate. So Jharkhand CM, Mr. Hemant Soren, and Governor CP Radhakrishnan. So blow a whistle, call to school, Jharkhand government drive to boost student attendance. Coming up to the next international news, 10 kilometers in 37 minutes. Oh my God. London is world's slowest city to drive in. So London is the world's slowest city for drivers owing to 20, speed limit. A study has suggested a journey of 10 kilometers in central London took an average of 30 minutes and 20 seconds last year. This also marks the second year in the row that London tops the slowest city ranking. Top 5 slowest cities include Dublin, Toronto, Milan, and Lima. In the UK itself, Manchester was ranked second, which was followed by Liverpool, Bristol, and Edinburgh. So 10 kilometers in 37 minutes, it's London. Yes. Australian Open 2024, Djokovic, Swiatek confirmed as top seeds. So Union, Novak, Djokovic, and Iga Swiatek will be the top seeds in men's and women's single. This year, Australian Open will be held from 14th to 28th of January. Now, Australian Open in mid-January, the French Open will be around late May to early June. Wimbledon will be in June, July, and the US Open in August, September. So this September, there will be 4 important tournaments. Correct? Challenge. Bhutan, Tshering Tobgay to become PM for the second time. So Tshering Tobgay and Public Democratic Party won runoff elections in Bhutan, defeating former bureaucrat Pema Chewang and relatively new Bhutan Tendril Party. The PDP won 30 out of 47 seats in national legislature. Tobgay is a 58-year-old, is a conservationist and former civil servant with a master's degree in public administration from Harvard University. Let us discuss some facts about Bhutan. Capital Thimphu, language Dzongkha, life expectancy 68 years men, 71 years women, and head of state King Jigme Khesar Namgyal Wangchuk. I hope that is clear. Now, Crema de la Crema, these are the world's most powerful passport. India, Pakistan rank at this position. So, Indian passport has improved its global ranking, moving up 3 positions. Crema de la Creme, or the accolade of having the world's most powerful passport, is split among not 1 or 2, but 6 countries, guys. They are France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Singapore, and Spain. All these nations are allowed visa-free entry to a whopping 194 countries. This ranking are from Henley Passport Index, which ranks the world passport according to the number of destinations their holders can access without a prior visa. In the second place, with 193 visa destination are Finland, South Korea, and Sweden. Rounding of the total 3 with 192 global destination are Austria, Denmark, Ireland, and Netherlands. So the maximum European countries. Yes. चलिए legal update की तरफ चलते हैं. We will be discussing about some interesting update coming from the Supreme Court in Alag Kamal and others versus B Ganeshan and another. Buyer not complying with timeline for payment can't seek specific performance of agreement to sell. The Supreme Court has come up with a decision when a contract stipulates a specific time frame within which the consideration needs to be paid by the buyer to execute the agreement to sell by the seller, then the buyer must strictly adhere to such condition. Otherwise, the buyer cannot avail the remedy of specific performance of sale deed. याद रखिएगा, it's a very important judgment coming under the Specific Performance Act. So do note it down. The next judgment coming from the Honorable Delhi High Court, foreigners can't claim right to reside and settle in India. Their fundamental right limited to Article 21. So the court has said that foreigners cannot claim right to reside and settle in India as their fundamental rights are limited to Article 21, that is protection of life and personal liberty. Fundamental right of any foreigner or suspected foreigner is limited to one declared under Article 21, and there is nothing which may suggest that his liberty has been curtailed in an illegal or unlawful manner. Okay, and the bench is Justice Suresh Kumar Keth and Justice Manoj Jain. Please note it down. It's a very important judgment in perspective of Article 21 of Constitution. That's all for today. And if you feel that this particular information is helping you out, please drop an encouraging feedback in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.